Hey, it's me, MLB, ready for chapter 3 of Be With Me. This one's titled Gutted. Sharky? You asked, pushing his bedroom door open. You looked around his room and your eyes settled on a lump under the blankets in the middle of his bed. Sharky, I can see you said happily, bounding over and jumping up on the bed to crawl over the lump that was your best friend. As you reached a hand out to touch him, you heard quiet sobbing coming from underneath. Sharky? Sharky, are you crying? You asked, worry rising in your voice. Why are you crying? You asked again, grabbing the covers and pulling them back to reveal a very sad little bundle curled up in the middle of his bed. He looked up at you and whimpered, his bottom lip quivering. I couldn't save you the other day and it made me sad, he said, stuttering every second word. But Sharky, you did save me. You ran and got your mum, you replied encouragingly. No, I didn't. That was your mum that told me to get her. And all I did was run away and left you there to die. He started bawling again. I can't be a hero if I'm scared. I'll never be a hero. Sharky, don't say that. You're an amazing hero and you'll be the bestest hero ever. I just know it, you yelled triumphantly. He sat up and lunged at you, knocking you down with his tight hug and cried into your shirt. You just lay there and snuggled into him, whispering words of love and encouragement. Sharky was never really the same after that day. His confidence had taken a hit and he retreated into himself a little bit, but you still loved him and you were determined to show him that he had the markings of a hero and he was going to be the best hero ever. Seasons passed, days flew by, and you and Sharky continued to play every day. You'd promised each other that you'd never go anywhere and you'd be the bestest of friends always. One morning, Mrs. Kirishima brought Eijirou over to play so that she could talk to your mum. You and Sharky headed off up to your room to play with your toys and left the two mothers in the kitchen together. Can I get you something to drink? Your mum asked Mrs. Kirishima. Oh, no thank you. I don't think my stomach could handle anything right now, she replied in a slightly saddened tone. Why, what's wrong? Your mum asked, worried for her neighbour who had become a very good friend. Babe, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I've been told we've got to move at the end of this year interstate for work, she said, her gaze dropping to the floor. Oh, no, really? Your mum replied sullenly, her heart sinking in her chest. Have you told Eijirou? No, I haven't, and I don't know how to break it to him. He'll be devastated, she said, fighting back tears. Well, Yin's going to be gutted, your mum said. What do we do? Mrs. Kirishima asked. There was a pause as they both thought. Then Mrs. Kirishima spoke again. Listen, this might sound cruel, but maybe we shouldn't tell them. Your mum thought for a moment, then nodded slowly. Yes, let's let them play together often, and then when you leave, that's it. If they know what's coming, it might make it more painful. Mrs. Kirishima nodded. I'll be very sorry to see you go, your mum said, her voice quivering with emotion. Yin's going to miss Eijirou like crazy, but maybe we could arrange for visits sometime? Oh, yes, let's, she replied, wiping a tear from her eye. The fated day came, and Eijirou came over to play like usual. You and he played for an hour or more when you heard the doorbell ring. Eijirou, your mum is here, your mum called. That's early, isn't it? Eijirou said, turning to you. I don't know, you shrugged. You and Eijirou skipped down to the front door where his mum waited. Eijirou, honey, we need to go into town, she said, doing her best to cover her emotions. We'll be back late, okay, so give Yin a big cuddle. Your mum looked the other way and wiped a tear as you two embraced for what you didn't realise would be your last time together. Have fun in town, Sharky. You can tell me all about it tomorrow, you beamed. You bet, he replied, flashing you that big toothy smile. I'll see you then. Mrs. Kirishima shot your mum a very sympathetic look and turned, leading Eijirou down the path. As they hopped into the car that was parked outside their gate, you realised you were still holding on to one of Sharky's Crimson Riot plush toys. Mummy, you gasped, I need to give this to Sharky to take to town. Before she could say anything, you dashed down the steps and out the gate towards the car. It slowly pulled away from the curb and rolled down the road with you, running as fast as your little legs could take you, chasing after it. Sharky, you screamed at the disappearing car. Sharky, your toy! He must have heard you because he turned in his seat and looked out the back window. He smiled and waved when he saw you, mouthing something as he ran. What? You yelled, the car getting further and further away. Finally, you had to stop to catch your breath and the car disappeared around the corner. You shook your head and headed for home, promising yourself that you'd give it to him tomorrow. The next morning, you jumped up and ran to the front door. You swung it open and was about to run next door to Sharky's house when you saw a white van parked out the front. You paused. Men were carrying boxes and furniture out of Sharky's house and putting it into the van. You turned and sprinted back inside. "Mummy! Mummy, people are stealing things from Sharky's house," you hollered as you ran to her room. Her head shot up from the pillow. Then she realised what day it was. "Yin, sweetheart, come here a minute," she said softly in her just-woke-up voice. "There's something I need to tell you." And that's the end of chapter 3. Very sad chapter, sorry guys. Chapter 4 will be up very soon.